this is Gayle, and welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to talk about some winter storm preparedness tips, and I hope that you're going to share yours because that's the plan. I'm going to be doing this format because I'm having the stream from my cell phone. We've been having all kinds of winter weather problems, and I don't want to risk getting bumped offline just because the electricity pops out and I lose modem access. So I'm streaming from my phone, and this was the format that I could get. So hang in there with me, bear with me on that. But so many people are under a winter weather warning and winter weather advisories and storms, and we've got this going on all across the country. So I thought we could come on tonight and talk about that for a few minutes and share tips. How do you survive this and what can you suggest for somebody else? I know I have some ideas, but we're all in kind of a different place, both geographically and with what we have available. So I thought this would be a really important time to take time to talk about this. So, Spider Man the hero is in saying, maybe I need a light, lol. And are you in the dark ages? I bet you're cold, lol. So, no, right now I'm not in the dark. However, it has been flashing and we've had some brownouts. Surprise, 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 right? So, anyway, hi, you all. My name is Gayle, and welcome to my Bodacious channel, where we're just all about not letting life get in the way of living. And that's part of why we're here tonight to talk about this kind of stuff. So, hi, welcome. Only 11 inches on the ground and still have power. Whoa, only 11 inches? That's crazy by our standards. I mean, that's crazy. We we were predicted at one point in all of this mess that we would have up to a foot. Kind of made us all a little nervous because nobody wants to have a foot of snow. Or I don't know. I have this one friend. She probably would love to have a foot of snow. I don't. I don't, but you always have to allow for that one friend, right? So 11 inches on the ground. That's wild. So far, what we have is not necessarily a lot of inches of snow, but we have like half an inch of ice. And so over here by us, where we were hit with Hurricane Helene, even though it's been over a year, they've still got trees on the power lines where they're just hanging on the lines and they're putting that tension on the line, so everybody is waiting for that to snap, and it's happening some. So we've had some outages here a few times, and we've had some brownouts. And how do brownouts work where you all are? With me for here, when we have a brownout, I've lost modem signal. So I've been suddenly knocked off of Wi-Fi, which is a good bit of the reason for me streaming from my cell phone tonight. That way I can stay connected because cell phone service, at least right now, has been stable. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Hey, Grandma Lynn is in the house. Hi, Grandma Lynn. Welcome. I hope you're I hope you're missing some of this bad weather. I'm hoping the weather is better out there where you are. And it's good to see everyone. Go ahead and type in your winter tips in the chat. Now, I've done some planning hopefully ahead of the major problem. What I did the other day was I did a live stream on how I pack for my service dogs, just in case we have to evacuate. So if y'all haven't seen that, go over there and take a look at it. I'll link that down in the description box so you'll have it. That's one of the biggest things for me is like, I know I'm going to be okay, but I'm responsible for these two lives who are responsible for keeping me alive. So we have this kind of symbiotic relationship here. So there's a very specific way that I pack. And I pack in this tote, not just because it's a tote, but so they can eat off of it if we go to a shelter. And, the weather tomorrow night's supposed to be like sucks with the temperature. What are temperatures looking like you all? Guys, we've got some differences of opinion on the weather forecasters here. And so I've seen that we're going to have 5 degrees tomorrow, and I've seen that we're going to have -1 tomorrow. And I've seen where the wind chill is going to be anywhere from -13 to 3 on the wind chill. Kind of weird for us. So tomorrow night, we are, and I may live stream this, I don't know yet. Um, but we're going to be putting a shelter together at my husband's church tomorrow night. So anybody that's cold can come in, or if you're hungry and you just want a good hot meal, you can come in and eat and just hang out for a while. That's okay too. Um, but with the combination of the trees and the temperatures and everything going on, that whole total picture, yeah, we're gonna be opening that up tomorrow. So, and that kind of stuff's like part of what I wanted to talk to you all about. Because shelters are just, people are so scared sometimes to go to a shelter because, they saw Hurricane Katrina going back way back in the day, and how it was just this open stadiums with cots laid out all over the floor and stuff like that. And the shelters here kind of are, in some sense, a miniature version of that. But everybody that's working at local shelters, they're local people. So it's like, it's friends, it's neighbors, it's teachers, it's students, and kind of all the walks of life are in there. But there's this camaraderie. And last year, one of the things that I really noticed was like how nice everybody was to each other and how helpful, and they just all wanted to dive right in and just be there for each other. And it was just kind of magical the way the shelter came together. Um, I really, I don't know how to explain it other than that. So I think that if you're in an area where you're nervous about going to a shelter, and you feel like you need to, I would say that if you feel like you need to go, go. You can, if you get there under your own power, you can always leave under your own power. So it's nobody's going to like make you stay or anything like that. But I found it to be a very positive environment. There were things for kids, there were things for adults to do. There was food. Oh my gosh. Like kids who were into junk food, that was like their haven, their paradise. Unlimited junk food, and all the parents would let them have. And so food was always out. Um, yeah, we had sleeping bags. You didn't have to bring anything, but you could. Now, I think though, with me going to a shelter, I think I want to take my own sleeping bags when I can, just because I just feel better with my own stuff. If my dogs spill water on it and it's mine, I don't have to worry about it. I just bring it home. I just wash it. So it's not like I'm gonna feel bad because it's somebody else's. So yeah. Or if they chew on something they're not supposed to and they get crumbs on it, I don't have to worry about that. I just come home, stick it in my washer, and don't have to worry about doing lots of apologies like I would if it was somebody else's. So yeah. So, what kind of things, is kind of going off topic a little bit, but the rambling there. What kind of things do you all do when you get ready for cold weather? I would, I want you to share your tips. Just drop them down there in the chat box over here. And if you're listening on the replay, drop them in down in the comments so we can help each other out. Because that's what we do on this channel, right? So, a couple of things with me. Storm prep. Oh my gosh. Van life has prepared me for storms much more than I think anything else. So I already knew going into storms that if the weather is cold, turn your faucet on, let all of your faucets drip, because running water It will eventually freeze, but it takes a lot more effort. But if you've ever been to Alaska and seen the frozen ocean, then you know eventually running water is going to freeze, but it has to get super cold. So turning on the faucets, letting them drip a steady stream, opening up the cabinet doors underneath the faucets to let some of your warm air get underneath there. Because even if your electricity goes out, chances are it's still warmer inside your home than out in the backyard. So leave those cabinet doors open. That was a big thing. And ready.gov there's a government website, and I was looking at it, and it tells you like what to put in an emergency supply kit. Have you all looked at this? Um, and I think it's great, but there's some things that I think could be changed on it. So yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute. And if you all, again, we'll just talk about this. If you all see some things or hear some things that sounds like they haven't updated this list in a while, then just chuckle. And you can put that down over here too. But yeah. Okay, so I was looking at this list and I'm going to pull it up. I wish I could share this screen, but I can't. I'm sorry. Um, I wonder if I can hold the phone. Let me see if I can do that. I don't know. Let me see. Hello. All right, you all. Okay, so hopefully this is showing up your basic disaster supplies kit. Um, water, 1 gallon per person per day for several days for drinking and sanitation. Uh, Food, at least a several day supply of non perishable food. Battery operated or hand crank radio and NOAA weather alert radio with a tone alert. Flashlight, first aid kit, extra batteries, a whistle to signal for help, dust mask, plastic sheeting, scissors, and duct tape. Huh. Okay. Moist towelettes, garbage bags, and plastic ties. Rinse your pliers to turn off utilities. A manual can opener for food. Local maps. And a cell phone with chargers and a backup battery. And I kind of want to talk about that for just a minute. And then the additional emergency supplies that it suggests are soap, hand sanitizer, and disinfecting wipes, prescription medications, non prescription medications like pain relievers, anti-diarrhea medication, prescription eyeglasses, and contact lens solutions. Now, if you wear glasses, that's pretty much a hard one to forget. Infant formula, bottles, diapers, wipes, and diaper rash, pet food, and extra water, cash or traveler's checks. Really? Traveler's checks? Important family documents, such as copies of insurance policies, identification, bank account records saved electronically or in a waterproof portable container, sleeping bag or warm blanket, complete change of clothing, fire extinguisher, matches, feminine supplies, mess kits, paper cups, plates, paper towels, and plastic utensils, paper and pencil, and books, games, puzzles, or activities for kids. Okay, so that's that's what ready.gov says. And I think that's really good, except it needs some tweaking. Like, I just want to know, does anybody write traveler's checks anymore? Like, I don't even know if you could get them. It really, yeah. Grandma Lynn says she's always ready. That is so on brand for you. She's always ready. Her friend Tim has a year worth of supplies, food, batteries, alternate heat sources, etc. I can always go over to his place with my cat. There you go, Grandma. There you go. I think that's wonderful, Lynn. We all need we all need to either have a friend like that or be a friend like that. Todd Saw is in the house. Hi, Todd. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. Um, so that's wonderful. I have, like, when they're talking about the food over here at ready.gov, let's see, where'd it go? And they have this as a printable list too. Um, at least a several day of supply of non-perishable food. Here's something interesting that they didn't put on the list. There is no suggestion of having something that you can cook the food on. So going by this, your food needs to be non-perishable and something that you don't have to cook. And that pretty much means that you're going to want protein bars, dry granola cereal, dried fruit, canned juices, canned bottled water that you can put like maybe flavoring packets in if you don't like the taste of water. Some you're going to want some comfort foods. So if you like brownies, get you a box of like Little Debbie brownies that are individually wrapped. So anything that you get is going to need to be like in those pre-wrapped, sealed pouches, basically. So like you're ready to eat meats are going to be like your canned tuna, canned salmon, canned ham, that kind of thing. Or your pouches of chicken salad. Those are we saw a lot of that after the hurricane came through here. A lot of that. Uh, and you're going to want a can opener. I don't remember if that was on the list or not. Uh, Now, peanut butter is good, and I suggest taking some snacks. If you're going to have to go to a shelter, I do suggest taking some snacks with you, just because, like, when I worked in the disaster shelter for Katrina, there was a line of people getting snacks. Now, I didn't see that here because, smaller area, and we had like, it just seemed like tons more stuff per person than what they did at the other shelters that I was volunteering in. But I still recommend taking a few things with you in a go bag just because, you may not like, there's like a ton of snacks, tons of junk food type snacks. Like kids are going to love it, but you may not like it yourself. So if you have, just a couple of extra things in your go bag, I think that's always a really good idea. So maybe some trail mix. I like those little nut packs for the mixed nuts. I like those personally. Um, so those are good. So you're going to want either something that you don't have to cook or something that you can cook on. Now, van life has just really helped me a lot. So one of the first things that I learned in van life was I needed a way to cook. And of course, now because of the van, I got the mini griddle and I can cook on that. And I still have the 200 amp hour battery that we were able to take out of the van, and the solar panels to hook up to it and stuff like that. But not everybody has that. But two things that I'm really glad that I have are a camp stove and a burner. So I brought some of this stuff in with me. Let me show you the burner I'm talking about. This is just something that's really, really easy, and it's lightweight, so it's simple to carry around. It takes these green gas bottles. It already came with the whole bag here. This burner, I believe it's by Coleman. I know the gas canister is Coleman, but it doesn't say. I got it a few years ago, got it at Walmart. Um, but this gas can just fits in this base right here. Feet on it pull out. Now you do need to cook outside if you're going to use this. Okay, anytime you're going to use something that's gas that's not designed to use inside the house, you want to use it outside. Okay, so this burner, you've got the tank that fits on here. The tank is separate. And so for the burner, let's just get right there and it screws onto the top of the tank. You just go ahead and rotate it down, and then when you go to cook, follow the instructions for lighting it. I'm inside, so I don't want to do that in here, but follow the instructions for lighting it, and your pot would just fit right on top. So just pretend that's a pot. And you have the same kind of or a similar cooking setup that you would if you had a gas stove in your kitchen. You pretty much cook whatever on here that you want to, as long as you watch your balance on that, because it can tip over. These things, um, it's $25, which depending on what side of payday you're on, can be a pretty good investment or not. But for me, when it comes to storms, I love it. I love it because it's small, it's easy to carry around, everything fits in one bag. And camp stoves are nice, but they're bigger and bulkier. They're still not bad though. They're also more expensive. So if you're going to do soups or water, or you're going to heat up some like canned vegetables or something like that, this is fine, and it'll hold. You can put a pretty good sized pot on here. I really like that because it just makes life easier if you're going to stay home and you have no electricity. Now, you still, your non perishable foods, even though they may be shelf stable and you don't have to cook them, you still may want to cook them. And that's where the burner comes into play. Um, you know, a lot of things. Like I talked to somebody the other day. Well, no, it's not the other day. It's been a while. But anyway, I talked to this person and she was talking about making soup on the trail. And she dehydrated all of her vegetables first. And then she used, get this, jerky. She put jerky in with her vegetables and she would make like a beef soup or a beef stew with the beef jerky. Blew my mind. Okay. I had no idea you could do that. But I was like, that is so smart. And you can do that like with veg all. And if you take veg all and you want to make a chicken soup, throw your can of chicken in there. Get your pot, put the veg all in it, put the chicken in it, and you have got a chicken vegetable soup. How's that? If you have pasta, throw that in too. All those things that'll help. Um, So that was on food. Also, okay, going back over the battery powered or hand crank radio and NOAA weather alert radio with a tone alert. I have, and it's already out in the car. So I should have brought that in. Sorry about that. I just now thought of it. But I have the NOAA weather radio that's like the size of a transistor radio, if you all remember those, or if you're young, maybe you've seen them. And it's got AM, FM, and I can put it in my pocket or my purse or my backpack. And it's really easy to carry around. It's white, it's got a long antenna on it, and it was not expensive, but it's rechargeable. So I don't have to worry about whether or not the battery is going to go down, because if it does, I can just recharge it and it will power up and alert and do its everything it's supposed to do when while it's recharging. Love it. The other thing that I really like about it is you need to have flashlights anytime you're in a situation where you may lose power. And the weather radio that I have has a flashlight on it. So it's nice and compact, and it's something that I'm not carrying two pieces with me. I'm carrying one piece. And I know y'all are probably thinking about like flashlights on your phone and stuff. The thing about that, what I learned really fast doing van life, is that using the flashlight on your phone, if you're not charging it, just pulls your battery down that much faster. And you need your phone for communications. So get a second flashlight, use your weather radio, buy one. I have used those hand crank flashlights, which don't need battery or electricity or anything, and they're really pretty good. They don't have as strong of a light as one that is USB rechargeable or takes batteries, but it has the advantage of no electricity. It's just you hand crank it with your hand. I got a bunch of those one year and gave them for Christmas presents. Yeah, nobody gave it back to me, so I assume everybody liked it. So that was kind of nice. And they do make, oh yes, Todd saw us saying or rifle ammo and flint. Hey, yes, that'll do it. But unfortunately, nobody knows. There are people that don't know how to use those. I could do the rifle and ammo, not too sure about flint. That's been a long time, but it's a good idea. Excellent, even. Yeah. And Todd likes the burner. Great. I really, that's really one of my favorite pieces, because you're not supposed to use it as a heater, but that flame is going to generate heat. So if you do have to use it inside, you have the fact that it'll heat. Just make sure you open the window. It's not supposed to be for indoor use. I don't suggest it for indoor use, but I also know that some people are going to use it indoors anyway. But me personally, I like the burner. You know, um, you need to be able to cook something. You just do, especially if you've got kids or a family. So the burner is great. Oh my gosh, buy the gas tank. Like the minute you hear that a storm is coming, it's too late to buy the gas cans for that. Go keep some on hand, just because if you wait, you can have a real problem. Like what we saw out of Hurricane Helene was people had waited to stock up on those green canisters, and then to even get them up here in my corner of Northeast Tennessee, I had to drive to Lexington, Kentucky to get them. I mean, it all worked out sort of, but try to get those like immediately after this storm is over because you're going to really need to have those on hand. That's the only thing. Um, And on the flashlights, they do make USB rechargeable flashlights, and they're really good. Or at least I like mine, little pink one there. Um, and what I found out is if I get a weird color like pink, nobody in my house, like even if my adult kids are over, like they won't claim it. So it stays in place a lot longer. I don't worry about it walking off as much, but because you want to be able to find your flashlights. Um, Something I I won this from a YouTuber several years ago, and I tell you what, these solar panel battery banks, this has been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful because this one takes about 5 hours to charge in full sun, and standby on it is, I don't know, it's a long time. So I really like that. It's also it's pretty compact. Like, here's my water bottle to give you an idea of the size there. This is like a 12-ounce water bottle. And it charges, okay, it's got two ports. So it can charge two devices. But here's the other really cool thing. Anything that you have that's USB can be run off of this, or at least anything I've tried to run that was USB. So as far as like lights, hand warmers, phones, recharging tablets, things like that, I've had no problems out of it. So YouTubers are really good. Some of us have lights, extra lights as YouTubers. And I got this several years ago. This one I paid like $6 for it. I don't know what it is now. But in the event of a power outage, if I need light and I have this, then all I have to do is use this as the light source. There we go. Well, after I get in there. So there you go. And this is LED. I can turn it up or down. And of course, it's got its stand, so I can put it anywhere I want to. So that's really the nice thing about having something that like this. Um, this will do two devices or one device and one light. And if I don't want to charge it on solar, let's say I do actually have shore power wherever I am, then I can charge this on a house current, which makes it really nice. Let me set this back over here so I don't drop it. So yeah, I really recommend this a lot. Like I said, I won this one and love it. I actually went out after that, after I'd used it for a couple of years. I went out and bought a couple to give as Christmas presents to people that are very close to me who have they're notorious for not having their phones charged and not having anything they need to plug it up. So they don't have to worry about finding these anymore. They just need a cord in this. The other thing that I like about this is the flashlight. Again, it's just nice not having to, worry about multiple things here. This is not a super strong flashlight, but it does light up the area nicely. And because of the way it is, I can open the solar panel just a little bit and I can sit it up. And guess what? I can use it for a nightlight. Just really helpful, I think. Whoa. And it's got the strobe. I don't like the strobe. Supposedly, if you need help, you can put it on strobe and it will help people to see you quicker. I don't know. So far, I've not needed that, and I pray never to. Any other battery banks that you have, make sure they're fully charged going into the storm. You want the most bang for the buck as far as power is concerned. So charge everything. Um, have you all seen those USB rechargeable hand warmers? Does anybody use those? Have them? Because I love mine. And I will stick those hand warmers in my pockets or in my gloves or in my pockets of my jacket. And they really help so much to keep you warm. They're small, but they are dynamite. And I also have, as far as staying warm, oh my gosh, this vest is heavenly. This is a heated vest. Hey, Valerie, how are you? Uses the same kind of battery pack that my cell phone does. I just put it in the pocket here, plug it in. And see, this is the little control panel right here. That is the middle section, middle temperature, medium, off. Green is low. Sorry, blue is low. So it's blue, green, and red. There's red. If I want to, just kind of aim the heat specifically, I can do that. I can just move it around. This thing is wonderful. Now I got the vest. I'm not in any shape, form, or anything related to this company, but I love this vest. The reason that I got the vest is because sometimes I just need the vest. I don't need to have this big heavy coat. But when I do have to have the big heavy coat, I can still put the vest on and then put the coat over it, and it helps hold all the heat in. does a fabulous, fabulous job. It is going to be here. It's going to be super cold tomorrow. Um, and you can bet I'm going to have this vest on. And the amount of battery that it takes just depends entirely on how big your battery is and whether you use the vest on high, low, medium, and how long. So, yeah, I love this thing. So, if you all are in the market and needing a jacket or a vest, I really recommend this one. It's not cheap. Hey, Todd Saw is calling this a prep rally. I like that. Valerie's hibernating all week. That is cool. I'm glad you're getting to do that. I am glad. So, yeah, these vests, I'm just checking right quick to see how much they are on Amazon now. I am terrible. I will get see something that I like and then I'll put it in my Amazon cart and I will let it sit forever. So I try to catch the lightning deals. And I found that if I put it in the wish list, I don't get a notification when it goes on a lightning deal or the price changes. But if I put it in my saved for later section in my cart, I do. So, and they also make heated blankets that are work with the battery packs too, which are nice. They don't get super hot. They just kind of get warm. So you're going to want another blanket over it, but they're really nice. And just scanning here super quickly. Um, Here's a vest with 4-star rating and it's $28. Now that's on a lightning deal right now. And in case somebody wants it, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to that in the description box just so you can even see it. Let me tell you too, this is an affiliate link. So if you buy through this link, I might get a commission. Otherwise, that's all I have as far as the relationship with this company. Um, there you go. And they go on up. I mean, you can spend pretty big bucks on these. I mean, you can go up to just over $100 on these pretty easy. But, you have also got them. There you go for $28. Um, there's another one for 29. There's another one for 39. Just watch it. Some come with a battery pack and some don't. So if they don't, then you'll have to buy the battery pack separately. For a lot of people, it's no big deal because a lot of us already have the battery packs. So just for our cell phones. But I really, really recommend it. And I will tell you from personal experience that if you are cold and you are in your van, you can put your heated vest on and put a blanket over you, and may actually stay warm. Been there, been there and done that. So, okay, so kind of going back over here to ready.gov. Um, if you have rechargeable stuff and you've got the batteries, then you don't have to worry as much about extra batteries because you can recharge. And if you need to, I'm gonna sneeze. No, not, no, not, no, not. Okay. If you need to, you can charge these, both of these in the car. It just plugs in right there on this. And then this one's got a similar center charge port. So that makes it easy too, which is nice. Um, I just like not having to worry about a lot of extra things. And if I'm gonna have battery packs for cell phone, jacket, and stuff too, then I want a flashlight. If I'm gonna have a USB rechargeable, anything like that, or the um, the radio and stuff, if I can get one with a flashlight on it, that's just one less thing that I have to worry about it. I don't like having a lot of extra little bitty loose batteries. So I really like the packs because they're big enough and heavy enough. And since you can do two devices, it's really, really great. So, yeah. They suggest a whistle to signal for help. a dust mask, and I just had to get, I don't know, if you go into a store, the other thing at ready.gov, I don't recommend buying this particular set of items by itself, especially if you're a guy. It calls for plastic sheeting, scissors, and duct tape. Da-da-da-da. I would probably add a few other things to that, or maybe make 2 trips. I don't know. Um, Garbage bags and plastic ties and moist towelettes. Towelettes, definitely. And you really, we saw all of these in need after Helene. And I've been in an ice storm before that knocked out power to like 500,000 people, and those things very much did come into play. Wrench or pliers to turn off utilities is what ready.gov has. Do not get cheap pliers and expect them to work. Get a decent pair of pliers. Manual can opener, of course. Local maps. Okay, you all, I know Zoomers, you love GPS. But in some storms, there are communication problems. And as much as you might love GPS, that doesn't mean you're actually going to be able to use GPS. So get a map. You can usually pick them up for free from any tourism visitor center, um, welcome center, things like that. And some real estate agents will have them for your county. So you don't have to necessarily spend money to get a local map. Cell phones with charges, of course. Soap, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes to wipe surfaces. What I suggest on soap is that you have your regular soap like you use for the home, the pumps or the bars, whatever you like. But for something really easy to carry with you, get some of what they call soap sheets. And they come in like little plastic containers, and they're just little sheets of soap. So you take the whole plastic container and stick it in your pocket, go to the bathroom, and then pull out a soap sheet and wash your hands. That way, if the bathroom doesn't have soap, you do, and you're not carrying around a pump bottle. You just got that little container there. Prescriptions, infant formula, pet food, and extra water. Okay, on the pet food, take more than the amount that you need. So, like where I have prepped up to and packed to possibly evacuate with my pets, if with my service dogs, if needed, I already have the bulk of their dog food bag in the car, and I have extra bags packed for 1 bag per meal per day. So all I have to do is just reach in there and get that 1 bag, and I know, hey, this is morning, this is his breakfast, or hey, this is evening, this is his dinner. But I have more than 3 days packed, and then the rest of the bag that's already in the car. So take more than what you need. Take your dog toys. One thing though about if you're going to go to a shelter, shelters have to allow service dogs. Now, I saw this thing at the Red Cross after Hurricane Helene that I have already expressed my opinion on, and that is they didn't want people to bring their dogs in unless they could prove, I mean, service dogs, unless they could prove that it was certified. So one of the first things that I did when the storm was coming in is I called the Department of Justice on their information line, and I asked them, I said, hey, I know you don't recognize any certification. So if I have a service dog with me and I go to a shelter, do they have to let them in? And they said, yes, they do. So that gives me ammunition to talk to the staffers at the shelter. It's not going to be, the cold weather shelters are here are not going to be a problem for service dogs. But just know that they may try to make you put your dog in a kennel outdoors on the sidewalk is where they had them at the shelter here that was run by a very well-known national or multi international organization. So if you have a service dog, what you may want to do is print out a copy of the ADA law. That's what I did. And I also printed out a copy of the Tennessee Code annotated. So I've got that too. Most places that won't be an issue. But just in case you run into it, it's just another thing to do in advance to prep up so you know. Um, Cash or traveler's checks, like I said, who even uses travelers? Valerie, you travel a lot. Do you take traveler's checks? Okay, and Valerie's also saying she keeps disinfecting wipes that she carries when she travels out of the country and always has them available in her purse. That is brilliant. I do that also, and they even make like, have you seen any of the travel size like Lysols and stuff? Those are really nice too. I like those. Yeah, Valerie takes cash. I do too. That's what I strongly suggest. If you know a major storm is coming in, go to the ATM immediately. Or go to a store where you can get cash back if you don't want to go to an ATM. Because um, after a major storm, nobody may be able to take cards. You know, I have seen this, I have lived it. Both the ice storm that hit eastern North Carolina decades ago that I got stuck in, and immediately after the hurricane here, it was a good solid week before we had enough electricity up that places could take cards. But the owner may be standing behind the cash register with a scratch pad in his hand, adding up the cost of chips, drinks, and so forth, and saying, okay, that'll be $4.92. So I've lived that. So have cash. I don't know who would even take the whole thing about traveler's checks really kind of flips me out. Now, something that ready.gov does not have on here that I strongly suggest is go fill your gas tank with however much gas you can afford to put in that tank. Fill it if you can. If not, put in what you can. It may be a situation where you might have to go into the car and charge it. I mean, not charge it, but start it so you can be warm for a few minutes. And of course, there's all sorts of safety things that come into play there. So take your precautions. But the other thing is you may have to go out as soon as you can, but those gas stations may not be open because of the lack of electricity. And so filling up your gas tank, oh my gosh. And especially after we had all that water come in from the flooding, some of the gas stations were selling gas and they really shouldn't have been. But that's just one of those things. You can't control that, but you can control whether or not you have any gas in your car leading into the storm. Sleeping bag or warm blanket for each person is self explanatory. Complete change of clothes, self explanatory. I actually have that already packed and in the car. Um, Fire extinguisher. This is something that's overlooked. And I am of the mind that I will never be able, like, if there's an emergency, the way my mind works, I will never be able to remember, okay, pull the pin, flick this up, push that part down, and spray. So I hope I never have to need it. But my answer was to get the fire extinguisher spray cans that are just the spray cans of foam. So I know I can remember how to do that. And Valerie's saying she tries to prepay for as much as she can and allows some cash for additional wants and needs. That's, yeah, that's absolutely the way to go. If you know a storm is coming in, go for it. Um, and if you can set that up on a credit or debit card automatically on the computer on their servers, that's not bad either. But if you have to have it and you're relying on it for local, just go ahead and get cash. It also says ready.gov is saying mess kit, paper cups, plates, paper towels, and plastic utensils. So I would say yes on the paper cups and the plates, but I don't think you necessarily need a mess kit because you've already been cooking and you can use what you have in the kitchen most of the time instead of going out and purchasing a mess kit. Now you can purchase it if you want. I mean, nobody's going to stop you from spending your money if that's what you really want to do. But a mess kit for camping, I'm pulling this up on Amazon, and the first one that comes up is a 7-piece camping pan set for $17.99, and that's a lot of money for a pot, a skillet, a sponge, 2 bowls, and a spatula, and a case to put it all in. You know, that's $18. So you probably have a pot, a pan, and spatulas and stuff already in your kitchen. So stick with that. Paper and pencil, yes. Absolutely have a paper and pencil in whatever you pack in, because you're going to want to keep notes. If you have to talk to an electrical company or the water company or your insurance company, you're going to want to keep notes. And paper and pen is invaluable. It's easy to overlook, so don't do that. Paper and pen. And like I said, I've got mine ready to go right here. Um, Books, games, puzzles, or other activities for kids. Actually, books, games, puzzles, or other activities for kids of all ages from 90 to 9 days. Um, on the phones and your tablets, let me give you all a heads up. There may be communications problems. Our phones were up and down after both the ice storm, the winter ice storm that I was in several years ago, and back in fall of 2024. And I was in a snowstorm several years ago where the 911 tower collapsed. So if you're in a place that's calling for a bad storm, you may lose some of your communications. So that means you're going to lose access to your books and videos potentially. So download those to your phone and double check and make sure that you're not just downloading part of it. You want to download the whole thing. So if you're going through and you're looking for books that are in the public domain or whatever, and you want to download them to your phone, because public domain books are usually free, then make sure you download the whole thing. Okay, not just part of it. Because if you download part, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to see the rest of it. So download it all. Games, puzzles, other activities. You know, I've seen a lot of Uno and card games of various types being played. Hearts. I'm pretty sure that we had at one of the shelters maybe a little unauthorized poker game going on. We just saw lots of pennies on the table, and that was a Katrina shelter, and I didn't even ask. I just kind of walked away. One of those, do y'all need anything to drink? No, you're okay, you're good. Okay, never mind. So pretty sure that was going on. So just something to do. So I really think that this at ready.gov is a good starting point for a kit, but you are going to want to tweak it. Just just like, okay, it calls for a first aid kit, for example. The first aid kits are all over the place. Um, Look, when you go get a kit, look at it and see, make sure it's got what you want it to have in it, like pay close attention. For me, I like having antibiotic cream, Tylenol, and a leaf. and gloves. Those are my big things that I want because I already know the kit, by definition, is going to have Band-Aids. Um, Usually it's got alcohol antiseptic wipes. So I stuffed mine with those items. I put some hand sanitizer in it. I made sure it had the Aleve and antibiotic ointment and stuff. So if you do get a kit, add to it if you need to. Don't hesitate. Just throw it all in a Ziploc bag. It'll be fine. They also recommend a whistle to signal for help. Now, I read on another list that they suggested an air horn. I don't think, I don't know, for me personally, I would kind of be more inclined to do the whistle than the air horn, just because the air horn, you're only going to get so many blasts out of that can, and it's bigger and takes up more space. What do you all think on that? Which do you think you would do, a air horn or a whistle? I'd really like to know. Medications, yes. Obviously, you're going to take those. Um, write down write down the name of the doctor that prescribed those for you and the phone number, and put that list. If you have multiple doctors and multiple meds, you may have a list. So put that list in your go bag, because something may happen. You may run out, you may lose your medications, any number of things can happen when you're shuffling about and your life is in chaos, right? So if you have a list of your doctors that prescribed the medicines, then you know immediately you've got their phone numbers and everything right there. Put all that on your list. And then if you can't find your medication, you need another few days phoned in or whatever. Once the phones come back up, then you'll have all that information readily available, and it is so helpful. So do that. Do that. And keep all of this. Okay, let's talk about what you're going to put this stuff in. I really recommend that you put it in something that's bright colored. So blaze orange, yellow, this, mint green that people are using. Just put it in something bright. Now, you would think that red would be bright enough, but it's not. It's actually, a lot of reds are not that bright, and you want that really bright, obnoxious color, because you may be looking for this thing in the dark at midnight, and you want to be able to put your hands on it, and you're not going to be fumbling around. You're not going to want to fumble around with a navy blue bag or a black bag or some kind of dark color that blends into everything else. So something bright, go for that. Okay. Just, and you can get inexpensive backpacks to help you with that. Um, I had to order another backpack, which will not be in here until Thursday. So in the meantime, I'm using a bright colored bag. But my backpack that I just ordered is bright orange, and it cost me a whopping $6.59. And it's coming in on the 30th. I'm going to try pulling it this way. See if we see it. Back. Okay. Let me see. I got to give it just a second here. Okay. So here's my backpack. Bright orange, $6.59. And that is going to be the one that I put all this stuff in for my go bag, because it's bright colored and because I can just grab it on the way out the door. The other bag is already hanging by the door. I am not going to move it because I want to be able, I know it's right there. So when you have a head injury, when you put something down, you don't want to have to go. You don't want to have to touch it again because you'll forget where you put it. So, and one of the things that I liked about this, that, like I said, I won this. This is a Feely, and I freaking love it. They have an updated version, which is what I bought for family. But see that nice, bright blaze orange? I can see this in the bottom of my go bag. So I like that a lot. Now this bag is not huge, but it holds most of what I need, except for the dog food and their stuff. So big, it's not going to hold the sleeping bag and stuff, obviously. But my other things, like my battery packs, my extra light over there, medicines, all the stuff like that, med sheet, all that, um, it fits in the backpack. Okay. So, that's my suggestion on that. Make it just as bright as and as obnoxious a color as you can find. When we had a tree fall down on the house one time, we were scrambling to get out of it, and we were grabbing keys and stuff on the way out the door. So, something I would like to suggest, if you can, and not everybody can do this, but if you can put an extra key for your car or your house inside your go bag, I strongly suggest that, because you may need it. Hey, Spider Man the hero is in, and I don't know what these emojis quite are, but emojis to you. And Spider Man says bullhorn, and Valerie is saying whistle. I'm thinking whistle. The horn might be fun, but I just don't know that I'm going to get that many blasts out of a horn. So, okay, so now all of this that I've said assumes that you can walk and you can get out to the car under your own power. Some people can't, okay? So, and you all know I have a mobility problem. I'm not in a wheelchair anymore, but I have had to use a wheelchair. So, if you know that a storm is coming and you're a family member who may have to transport somebody who has a wheelchair, make sure before that storm comes in that you clean out space in the back of your car for that wheelchair. You're going to have a lot of things to put in your hatch or trunk. Make sure you have room for everything. So clean it out really good. I know it's a pain, and nobody like me, I don't like cleaning it out, but I have to sometimes. And that's really important. Um, if you have a power wheelchair, uh, if it's one that you uh, plug into a regular wall outlet and the cord and everything is on the chair, that's great, but you may need a heavy duty extension cord because you may not be able to get close enough to the wall at a shelter to plug in. So different wheelchairs have different requirements for power. So check with the company that handles the battery for your wheelchair. Ask them what kind of cord you need, because you may have to get it from them. Okay, so if you do, go for it. Um, an extra battery would probably be good. I would suggest that, because that may be invaluable, especially if you can keep one battery on charge and the other one's not. I would also suggest, if you're a CPAP user, bring an extension cord. If you are where you can bring an extra battery for your CPAP, like they make these little, like, I can't think of the name of them. They're portable batteries, but they're not like this size portable battery. They're the ones that you usually buy in the automotive section of like Walmart and so forth. Um, Todd Saw is saying he actually owns a bullhorn megaphone. It's awesome. I bet that would be a blast. I would probably like that better than an air horn. That is so cool. So, okay, so yeah, I'm kind of skipping things here. Um, if you use a wheelchair, if it is battery operated, see if you can get an extra battery, especially if you can keep one on charge or off. Take anything that you might need for your wheelchair. If you use an extra bag that hangs on, any portion of your chair, make sure you have that. Um, if you transport a person that's got a wheelchair, make sure you have space in your car for the chair. Um, any kind of mobility aids, bring those to the shelter. Um, have them, where you can find them. Um, CPAPs, if you can get a battery pack, even if it's one, whether it's designed for your CPAP or whether you go get one from like the automotive section of pick a store, those will be valuable because they're again, just like with the wheelchair, you may not be able to get to electricity. So if you're in the middle of a church fellowship hall floor, you're going to want to be self-contained as much as possible. So, have that extra battery. So if you have medications, this is medications that have to be refrigerated. They're a little bit of a challenge. You can keep them on ice in a little cooler, or you can ask the folks to keep them in the refrigerator for you if you're at a shelter. What I would strongly suggest, though, even if you're at home and there's a chance that you're going to be impacted by the storm, but not to the level of having to evacuate, I would suggest taking bath towels, your hand towels, your smaller bath towels, and make your own ice blocks with those because that's really helpful. Um, just wet them, put them in the Ziploc bag, put the Ziploc bag and everything in the freezer, then just pull that out and put that in the bottom of your cooler, just like you would any other ice block. That way, you're not having to go out and spend a lot of money on ice blocks because you've got it there. And the towel, it's not as prone to leak as it is if you have it just in this Ziploc baggie. I love Ziploc baggies, but what's up with them leaking? Like, really? That's crazy. And Valerie's saying, pun intended, pun intended. Yes, Todd saw. That's a blast. He caught that. Yay. Um, Valerie says, take all your critters and their food and water. Yes, yes, yes. I also suggest if you're like me and you've got to take your service dogs into a shelter, buy a portable crate. They're awesome. I have one and it zips up and it puts together like a child's play yard. And the dogs can go in there, but it's really portable. It's easy to take. So I suggest that too. You would. Valerie says if she went to a shelter, she'd want to be cooking for everyone. Yes, I can see that with you, Valerie. I really can. I can. Now, y'all, Valerie went on the mission trip with us to Alaska and she did the cooking. So I will always give her a cooking recommendation. She did a fabulous job. So, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, some shelters like the Red Cross and stuff, they won't let you unless you're a professional with your Safe Serve or Serve Safe certifications. But your local disaster shelters, yeah, you might find yourself cooking, Valerie. Yay! Yes, Todd Saw is saying key lime pie for everybody. Thank you for putting that on the menu. That is the way to do it. So, all right, you all. So, those are just some basic storm tips that I do. I've been really surprised, like I said, at how well van life has prepared me for a storm, and I feel kind of guilty too. And like when we had the van, I had the solar panel on it and the battery in it, so I could wash my clothes and do all kinds of stuff because I had a special washing machine. So when I was hearing about people who couldn't do that, I was kind of feeling really guilty. It's one of those things. So all right. Um Oh, yeah. Oh, and on the food, I had this note. You can buy food that only needs water, like powdered soups and stuff like that. And over at Walmart in the camping section, they have these meal kind of kits where you just add boiling water, close the bag, and in 10 minutes you've got like a chicken and rice dish, for example. Those are really nice to have. So are MREs. Just saying. Just saying. So, all right. So, you all, I hope this helps. What does anybody else have any suggestions? Val showed us how to make homemade key lime pie in the latest video. Yes. Valerie does a lot of really good cooking stuff. I have not seen that video yet, but she does a lot of really good cooking stuff, I will say. And Valerie is suggesting pancake mix, instant potatoes, and oatmeal. Those are all good. I love instant potatoes. Part of the reason why I love instant potatoes is because you can make potato patties, you can make soup, or you can make instant potatoes. But if you mix those instant potatoes up with your pancake mix, assuming your pancake mix is not already sweetened, if it doesn't have sugar in it, then you can actually take your leftover mashed potatoes and use that as a binder to make potato patties and fry them up. Oatmeal's good. Pancake mix obviously is good also for pancakes. And if you don't have syrup, you can slice fruit and put on there, which is also nice. So yeah, those are good things too. So, and a lot of people will do, believe it or not, a lot of people actually do pancake mix for breakfast and so forth after disasters because you're only adding water to it. Your mix may call for milk, but you can always switch that just for water. So that's a big deal. So all right, you all, thank you for hanging out. I want you to have a great week. Be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living. And I will see you all Sunday night and hopefully some videos during the week. If we do wind up opening the shelter tomorrow, I'll do some streaming from there just so you can see what the shelter is like. Okay. So, all right. Thank you all. Thank you all. Take care. Stay warm, and I'll talk to you soon.